All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another DC Worlds Collide video. This is Mr. Squirrel, and as always, I'm glad to have you here. Today's video is going to be a rather short one, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the sensor tower data. I saw Unstable Gamer had talked a little bit about this, and I wanted to just kind of follow up. I was watching his video as I was driving home. So again, I'm not taking credit for this video in any way, shape, or form. I think it's just something I wanted to talk a little bit about. And that is the game's revenue over the first month. Well, technically the first 3 weeks. It will be a month on the 7th. And in the video, essentially, I watched Unstable Gamer's video. I would go check it out before you check out this video. He talks a little bit about what had happened. Like, he gives kind of an overview about Apple and Google Play and the money that it's made so far. On both stores, it's made about 1 million respectively on both the Apple Store and then on the Google Play Store. Now, I think that that is a little on the lower end. I think it is a little bit on the lower end, but I also think that comes down to many things at play. In his video, he also looks up, I actually do it right now, hold on, Marvel Mystic Mayhem. And we can see that they both made roughly about the same amount of money. This is across one store, so this is just looking at Google Play. It made about 1 million. So they both made roughly about $2 million across both the Google Play and Apple Store in the month of July. The thing is also that's important to understand about that is that both had a pretty big movie that came out with respect to their releases, which would be, in the case of DC Worlds Collide, it's going to be the new Superman movie, and in the case of Marvel Mystic Mayhem, it has the Fantastic Four. But again, there is about 300,000 more players. So if we look at DC Worlds Collide, there's about 300,000 more players on DC Worlds Collide than there is on, or downloads at least, not players, but downloads. But I think there's something else at play here that I think we need to talk about, because it really does play into these, I think, quote unquote, a little bit lower sales. First off, I do want to talk a little about DC Worlds Collide. They have a weird development history. I think there's a lot of people that were skeptical about this game that are kind of getting back into it, and I think they're being a little skeptical about spending money right now, just because this game was in beta for about 2 years. So just people that don't know, this game was in beta for about 2 years. It just wasn't released globally. It was in specific countries. That's why there is a lot of characters in the game that are in the game files, but we don't have them as playable, like Killer Frost and Firestorm, especially Killer Frost, who had already been released in one of the betas. And I think that, and remember, and I actually heard about this game 2 years ago, which is why I was really interested in it. And I actually waited 2 years for it to come out. I remember watching one YouTuber covering it. And I was like, oh man, that game looks so cool. And I was really interested in coming out. And it just never came out for like 2 years, right? And I think that created kind of a weirdness to it. I also think there wasn't a lot of advertisement for this game. I think the Superman movie, did a lot of advertisement. But one thing that I see a lot of people saying about this game that play it is it's really good. And a lot of people are actually saying, of all the DC mobile games, they think this is the strongest game that is out right now. And I actually would concur. I'm not a big fan of Dark Legion or whatever it's called. I think it's very passive. It doesn't enforce skill. I think, and one of the things I want to emphasize in Unstable Gamer's video was he saying that, the first month is when a lot of players spend money. And I would agree, but I also would differ, because there are other games where that's not the truth. If we look at a lot of the Genshin games, those games actually started out lower and then boomed as time went on, as the game kind of solidified itself. The other thing, and again, I could be totally wrong here. This is me making a prediction. I actually think the first month might be one of the weakest points in this game versus one of its strongest points, because of the issue that there was like no advertisement. I'm gonna be real. The only reason I knew it is because 2 years ago I had put it on reserve or something like that. Like, or I forgot what it is. I kept making a note of it, and then I saw it pop up once. I was like, oh my god, the game's still coming out. I thought it had come out as like a match game, and I was like, well, I thought that's what had happened to it. But in fact, it came back out, and because I had been paying attention to it, I knew it was coming back out. Like I knew it was there. But there was no, I didn't see any like a lot of advertisements for it. And I think this is a case where the game has there is an opportunity here for this game to kind of capitalize on the renewed interest in DC and being one of the water just shooting up next to my apartment. Okay. Whatever. And one of the things, sorry, that's really distracting. There's just like a spewing of water just shooting up right now. Weird. Okay. Neither here nor there. But one of the things that's really important to understand is that while I agree most games that in most games the first month is when you see the honeymoon period, people are going to spend a lot of money, and then it just kind of peters off. But I think this game has the opportunity to kind of create spikes. When a new character like a show comes out, we've got next year we've got Supergirl. There's going to be they're already in the works for making Superman 2. I mean, you've got the DC, you got the Lanterns TV show coming out. Like there is so much stuff coming. You've got the new Batman. Like my point of what I'm trying to say is that while yes, this game could, the first month, this might be the most it'll make, I actually kind of don't think so. This is one of those games where I think the gameplay actually kind of speaks for itself. The same thing happened with Genshin. If you don't remember back in 2020, also with Genshin, though, we have to remember that game came out in the peak of the pandemic, which I think created a unique experience where people were just at home more. They were playing more video games, yada, yada, yada. But this is one of those games where my hope is that the gameplay will entice more players because it is very fun. It is a very fun game. And it really encourages you to, and it feels like you're playing with the characters as opposed to other games where it's just kind of like they're off and they're doing their own thing and you're not really doing much with them. But at the same time, it really does kind of encourage casual play as well, and our more hardcore play if you want that way, and like really pushing the story. So I say this because I think that there's also one last point before I'm going to move on to my next topic, is that we have to remember, because of the lawsuit that Apple and Fortnite, Epic lawsuit. Remember, this isn't the only way to spend money on this game anymore. And I wanted to highlight this because it's right here. Rubies. Rubies are pretty much in-game money. And you get more bang for your buck if you just buy these. I think a lot of whales are just buying these, right? And that's where you get a lot of the revenue for these games, is with the whales. And I bet that a lot of whales are spending here. And rather than just, what's happening is you buy this. I mean, don't encourage anyone to spend $1,000, Jesus, or any of this. But like, think of it like this. If you're going to spend $1,000 on this game, you just got $2,200 more worth of, again, don't do that. It's like rent. You just got $200 worth of in-game currency. So if a whale is going to spend $1,000, why don't they just spend it here? And now this data is not recorded in the sensor tower, because they're not making a purchase through the app. They're making a purchase through the store. It goes directly to the developers or the publisher. It does not go to Google or Apple. So this is a way to bypass, like imagine they do a sale at some point and this $50 one is they give you 200% bonus on it. I don't know, that they should probably do that at one point in time. That's like, then we would never see that data, because this is not being recorded in Google Play or Apple iOS. It just doesn't go through those channels. So they wouldn't record it. So these games might actually be making a lot more than we actually see. I actually think because of the Epic lawsuit, that what had happened, because now it's why you see Fortnite and iOS. I think that these sensor towers are somewhat of a good indicator, but we also have to remember that people may be spending money in other ways, especially the whales, which will be spending them through here. I would imagine most whales are going through this way because they're getting more, you're getting just more value for your dollar. Rather than spend $50 flat out, I'll spend, I mean, no, I haven't bought anything here, but if I spend $50 here, I technically just got $5 free. Here I got $12.50 for free. You know what I mean? Like I'm getting more money back when you start spending large amounts of cash. If a whale is going to drop $1,000, they're going to drop it here. Nah, they're not going to drop it in the store because the whales are going to be more likely to spend, and they're more likely to find the deals, and so they're going to be more likely that those large revenue chains that you're seeing, which again a lot of these games function off of these whales that are spending this amount of money. We're not going to see that here. We're going to see that in other avenues. Now, again, that might account for just a small percentage of the spending, but it could be something, right? And it could be something we don't see in the data. Again, could I be totally wrong? I could be. And maybe nobody's buying off of the Ruby store. That would be interesting data to see, but they're not going to, unless the company, and this is Unstable Gamer mentioned this, unless the company is telling you this is how much someone made, that's the only way we're going to know. The sensor tower, again, is a rough estimate. But again, I think more and more games are releasing these stores that directly on their websites or making websites for them so that you don't go through these apps, so that they get the full share of the money versus the iOS or Google Play getting that cash. So I say that to say that be careful with just looking at the sensor. Oh, this game is going to die. I think this game is uniquely positioned in a way that they can leverage the properties that are coming out simultaneously. And we saw it when Superman came out. People wanted to play this game, and then you have another hype character. You have the Green Lantern show. Ooh, I want to play some Green Lanterns, and then people pick up the game again, spend a couple bucks. Oh, this game's really fun. Maybe I can play a little bit longer. I'll spend a couple dollars here and there. The point is, but I also want to highlight what I think Unstable Gamer said something else in his video that I 100% fully agree with, and that is this game needs more modes. And I know people in my last video were against when I said this. They're like, they give enough resources. They don't give enough resources. I think they're really good at compensating. So I'm going to make a distinction here. Compensation, magnifique. Don't change, devs. Your compensation is phenomenal. However, I think the rewards in this game are too slow. Like right now, and I spend a little bit, it's easy to build up one character, maybe one or two. And again, I know these games are designed to last for years. I get that. I'm not saying, but I'm just telling you, yes, that they are designed to last for years. But remember, it gets exponentially harder to raise up a character, right? And we're getting to the point now where I haven't even hit 10 stars yet with one character, and there's 15. So remember, I'm just thinking of it when I say exponential, it's twice as hard for each rank up. So like 9 to 10, like going from 9 to 10 is twice as hard as going from 8 to 9, right? So going from 10 to 11 is twice as hard going from 9 to 10, right? So I think we're all kind of hitting a point where we need better ways to get some resources. And I'm not saying like waterfall resources. I'm not saying that. But we are having an issue of tokens. Tokens are hard to get. It makes it very hard to rank up your characters. You have to summon a lot, but we don't get the most. And I agree with Unstable that we don't get the most summoning. I think we get a decent amount. Could it be worse? It could be worse. Could it be better? It could be better. I think I am more about token economy. I don't think we get anywhere near enough elite tokens to rank up our characters, because this game wants you to rank. You need 3 teams in this game. That's 15 characters. And mind you, I don't really spend on summons. If I do, I'm spending on like resource progression. I'm nowhere near rank 10 on Hal Jordan. I've got rank 9 and I'm like, great. Nowhere near rank 10. And there are still 5 more ranks to go. And that will take me months. We're talking months for a single character, not a team, a single character. I think in the beginning, like what happens is that I'm going to just show you. Okay. So what happens here is that in the beginning, we're doing this. our progression, but then this starts happening as we progress in the game. It starts doing this, right? And the reason this is happening is because the resources we are getting are not matching. So if we think about the resources, this is the resources we need, and this is the resources we're getting, right? So we need this right here. This is what we need, and this is what we're getting. And they don't match. What this does is it causes a plateauing effect, right? That's normal, should happen. Not arguing with it. Should happen in these games. The problem is that I think the difference between these two values is too great. Because again, and I'm not I'm just saying that we are starting to see an issue with ranking characters up, because going from I saw a lot of people arguing in my video, well, this is game supposed to last years. Yeah, it shouldn't take me years to get one character to max rank. Years. We're talking years to max rank, right? So I think they do need to alleviate, and I think they need to release more game modes that give us more ways to get tokens, more ways to get like summons for dupes, so that we can get more elite or eighth ways to get eighth medals. I think those are great resources. I just think we need more of them. I think I'm going to revise what I had said earlier. I think that the XP is okay, but I do think we are running, especially elite tokens, guys. God, they are hard. Like it is elite fragments are like, sometimes I just need a summon so I can get more, because I'm just like, oh, you need so many to go from. I think I need 800 to go from 9 to 10. So that's a lot, and that's probably, and it's going to jump up to like probably around 1500 for rank 10 to 11. So, and then even more than that for 12 to 13, like 11 to 12. You get the idea, right? All I'm trying to say is that I think Unsable brings up a really good point, saying that he's interested to see where this game goes, but I think that we do need more ways to get resources for ranking up characters, because again, it is only going to get way, way harder. And I think the resources don't match the changes in difficulty, right? Because right now, I will tell you, I have one character that's like I'm more kind of working on. It's Hal Jordan, and the rest of my characters are just straight up about 100,000 points behind him. Like my next character, I think is like 80,000 points behind him, which, I mean, that's just how I'm playing it, but that's the only way I can progress. And the whole point of my team is to keep Hal Jordan alive so that he can just wipe out the other enemy team, right? And again, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm just saying, when we come back to the sensor tower, I think all of these things are factoring into why we might be seeing, the game plateauing a little bit. So my only thing is to say, and I'm going to conclude this video with this, I really do think the devs need to create a couple more modes that give us access to resources. Like, again, Superman event, phenomenal. It was giving us a ton of resources that we needed. They need to do more of that. And I think there should be a rotating event cycle with Superman like events all the time. And it doesn't need to be super crazy on the, like, I don't want this to be like a super resource intensive thing on the dev side. Make it a rotating thing. Just every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we get a new one, right? And that way it's like this unique event, and I go into the unique event and I get resources that I need to rank up my characters a little bit faster. It gives me a nice little push. And that little push will also, guys, FOMO, will bring people in, because like all the events out, and now like maybe do 3 weeks on, like 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, right? But it brings players in because they want to get these events, they want to get these rewards, and the rewards are really, really good. I also think a tower mode would be great. Tower mode to give one-time resources that would help rank up characters a little bit more, some summoning points. I think that would all be really, really good. And my last point that I think they really should do is, so we have a general summon pool. I think that they should start doing featured legendaries. So if you want to target a featured legendary character, like let's just say every week they do a feature, and then except for, or you can run 2 banners at the same time, but like this week Blue Beetle is featured, next week Cyborg, next week Sinestro. So like if you're looking for characters, it gives you a way to pull them and you just need to wait for them to come around. That devs, I'm just being honest with you, a lot of games do this. I think it would be in your best interest to start creating a featured banner that just rotates out the featured character so players can start targeting, because the last thing you want to do is to use your super encrypted tokens on that legendary banner and then just get like a random character that you don't need. Right? I think that would, it just feels bad. Imagine I pull Lex Luthor. I'm like, oh my God, he's free to play. Right? So I want to be able to target characters. And I think you should give us, or just give us a desired legendary and let us pick. I think you will get more players to spend. Right now, we just don't have enough ways to reduce the RNG in this game in terms of summoning. And I think it's really important that, you know, you want to make the bar for getting these characters just a little bit easier. So we get dupes, we get these characters in a way that allows our accounts to progress, not rapidly, but a little bit faster than they're progressing right now. It really does kind of feel, again, I'm just being honest, I'm in the 25s right now. I'm like 25-18. I'm like rank 7 on my server. And, you know, it takes a while, and I'm not saying that it should I be flying through the levels. Again, I know people are like, you're saying we should fly through. I'm not saying we should fly through the levels, but y'all, it's going to take me like a month to, and I do spend a little bit on this game. It's going to take me like a month to get like Hal Jordan to rank 10, and there's still 5 more ranks to go. That's excluding all my other characters. That's literally just focusing on Hal. I'm going to get him to 10. Great. And now I'm not working on my other 14 characters that I need to be working on for all these different game modes. We need a diverse roster, but we're not getting the resources to build out that diverse roster. We should be able to at least get most characters to like rank 6 or 7 relatively easy. So that way we can get those leader skill buffs. Like I have to make decisions whether I want to just get Batman to rank 7 or work on Hal for a little bit, like get him closer to rank 10. See what I mean? That doesn't feel the best, and it just feels like our resources are so limited now. And I think a lot of players are starting to feel it. And devs, I really think you need to release more events that are giving us more access to these things. And again, I'm going to keep saying this, I am not saying make it easier, but I am saying we are hitting kind of a resource wall, and I think it might be pushing players away. You want to have peaks and valleys. All right, that's it for this video. Thanks for listening. As always, failing is just your first attempt in learning.